The whole process of beekeeping is like learning to accept that you are not in charge and that nature operates in this whole gray area. And you don't really get to call the shots, and just kind of learning to like go with the flow in that way. And just finding like the beautiful moments in that. Understand that we're all a part of this like larger natural rhythm, you know? Getting to be connected with nature and like constantly being surprised by what the honeybees are doing is extremely rewarding. Not only am I connecting with this like insect and like understanding how they operate, but I'm like understanding the whole interconnectedness of like Chicago nature. The rhythm that you get into with beekeeping is like you go out, you see what the weather's doing, you find out where the plants are at within the season, and then you say, okay, here's what we need to get done today. And we just do a hive inspection. And a hive inspection is basically smoking a hive a little bit, opening it up, pulling out frames, and just seeing what's going on inside the hive. In a healthy hive, there's gonna be a queen who's laying like up to 2,000 eggs per day. So you wanna make sure you see eggs, and when you see eggs, you know that a queen is around. Beyond that, we're not really manipulating much more. Making sure nothing is out of the ordinary, giving them another box if the season calls for it. Like if there's a lot of nectar, you can give them more space and they'll make honey, they'll build more wax, that sort of thing. Bees love a big cavity with a small entrance, and that's like secure for them. So honeybees evolved in trees, and so they also co-evolved with forest fires and that sort of thing. So when bees sense smoke, they think, oh my gosh, our house is gonna burn down, we better start packing our bags. And what that means for them is that they start eating honey to like kind of get ready for a trip where they might be without a home for a while. The bees never actually leave the nest, which is what they would do if a fire actually were occurring, because if they felt the heat, they would leave. But the smoke just kind of distracts them and causes them to start eating honey while we can go in and just do an inspection. I had been into insects my whole life. Like when I was a kid, I was super into bugs. As an adult, I was working a graphic design job. I liked it, but my job was changing. And I thought like I would like to be doing something in urban agriculture. So I didn't really find growing vegetables to be very fun. So I was like, well, what if I did something with livestock? And I thought bees would be perfect. And I took a class with the Chicago Honey Co-op. And that's where I kind of just like fell in love with bees. After that class, I went and did an apprenticeship in Eugene, Oregon, where I worked with a beekeeper and kind of like learned hands-on how to do beekeeping. You slowed down and you kind of like checked on the hives and you were present for that. Every action that I did created an immediate reaction. And I thought, this just feels like what I want to be doing. That's when I just kind of got the idea for Beekeeping, and I came back to Chicago and I kind of implemented it through a Kickstarter campaign. At that time, and still today, I was like, you don't need a car to do anything in the city. Like I was moving bookshelves, I was moving mattresses, I was moving sofas with my bike, like just to be like, you can do it, you don't need a car. When I do it by bike, I'm out in the open, I can wave to people, I can smile to people. You can't really do that when you're in a car, it's kind of creepy. I'm connected with the weather, you know, how the wind feels. I'm able to look at, you know, plants and flowers and trees and kind of see where they're at. Whereas in a car, you have to focus on driving and not hitting people. But on a bike, it's like you could stop, you could look at a tree, you could look at a flower, you could take a picture of something interesting. Like doing it by bike just makes you even more connected with the nature around you. When I started, I wanted to like kind of share the experience with people. So I thought, why not like allow people to tag along with me and kind of like learn the ropes with beekeeping. But then the second year I was like, I want to do something that's like more in depth. Like let's do the full season so you can see from like April until September, like what happens in like the summer in Chicago with beekeeping. And also having done an apprenticeship in Oregon, I was like, the best way for me to learn was like doing it hands-on. Like you can read a billion books about beekeeping and you can watch YouTube or whatever, but like until you're actually like face to face with a large box of stinging insects, like what do you think you're gonna do? Like it's really intimidating. Working with somebody was really the chance, really get an experience with it. And now I get to give that to people who are also curious about it. Honeybees are not endangered in like the conservation sense. First of all, they're from Europe. They're not native to North America. They are an incredibly important commercial asset to food production in this country. And because of that, there's always going to be research and money to help keep Apis mellifera, the western honeybee, alive. The bees that are actually suffering are the native bees that are native to North America, like bumblebees and mason bees and metallic green bees and solitary bees and digger bees and sweat bees and all of those smaller pollinators that don't have this like movie star attention that honeybees have. Honeybees are kind of like this gateway insect to like get people to care about the insect world at large, because honeybees do pollinate flowers and produce a lot of food for us, but so can native bees, sometimes even more efficiently than honeybees can. What's important to me is creating educational campaigns and doing things at schools to get kids to be interested in bees. I don't want this to be just like all about saving the honeybee. I want it to be about like saving bees and saving, humans' interest in insects. Like I was a little kid, I cared about bugs. Like how do we make sure other little kids, especially urban little kids, care about bugs too? I guess my favorite part of beekeeping is the constant critical thinking and, trying new things, experimenting, succeeding, failing, and just kind of accepting this whole process of like, you're just trying to like assist this insect in its life and like take advantage of their habits of making honey and just kind of working with them. Seeing something new for the first time. You still get to see that, even if you've been beekeeping every year for decades. You always learn something new every year. One of my friends said, in beekeeping, every year is a master's degree. And that really is true. Like, I'm still learning so much.